Hey guys, so for those of you who know me, I've been shooting digital for the past probably 14 years, but that is actually not where I started photography. My first film camera was actually some little blue plastic 35mm thing I got on my 4th birthday. I don't have it anymore. I don't think I ever really shot anything on it. No idea. From there, I was in, I think, 5th grade. My parents bought me a Polaroid 600, one of the more modern ones at the time. I shot quite a few images with that. I still have a few of those running around somewhere. But after that, I moved to digital, and I've been shooting ever since. Now my workhorse is an A7R Mark III. I've really fallen in love with this Tamron 17-28-2.8 recently. Been shooting a lot with that. But for my wedding work, I use this and a lot of other long primes. Recently, I've just kind of wanted a change. So a few months back, I picked up a 35mm Nikon film SLR in Colorado that my wife ended up picking up for me. And then I also recently acquired a Pentax K1000 with a 50mm f1.7 lens on it. And went out, bought a few rolls of film, waiting on them to get developed right now, but I shot a bunch of stuff. I shot a roll of Portra 400, a roll of Kodak Gold 400, and some Fuji Superia 400. Shooting with these cameras has just been a completely different experience. For someone who had never shot 35mm heavily until this point, I didn't really understand the draw, and I haven't even seen my images yet, and already I'm hooked. There's something so different about the mechanical function and the way all the bodies work to create your images that's just completely different and almost euphoric in a way. I plan to put a lot more of this on the channel, but I kind of want to show you guys all the bodies I've picked up and what I'm going to be shooting with. First up is this guy. This is the Nikon I was referring to. Nothing crazy, 50mm f2 mounted on the front of this guy. Very basic light meter. Other than that, fully mechanical, fully manual. Film speed settings there on the bottom. So film speed, ISO, basically the same thing. How sensitive the film is to light versus how sensitive the sensor is to light. But this will be kind of my primary I'm going to shoot with. I really like this camera. It feels like a tank. It is super heavy. This camera and the small little prime probably weigh almost as much as like 2 of my A7Rs, which is crazy, but it's just because this camera is mostly metal. There's very little plastic on it, just a few little spots up on the levers and things like that. But that was like the first thing I noticed when I picked up one of these cameras was a lot of these older 35mm film SLRs, especially the ones in good condition, they're just built so well. And you know, that's crazy to me because nowadays, you know, plastic is the go-to. We do have magnesium alloy bodies on a lot of our higher end cameras, but plastic is very much a common material. And I've always had this, you know, moderate fear. I'm glad I have insurance, but if I drop one of these bodies hard enough, I mean, it's not going to take too much to break off a lens mount or something weird like that, but that may just be my paranoia. But yeah, Nikon I'm going to be shooting with mostly. Really like this camera. I've already put 2 rolls of film through it, so we'll see how those turn out here in a few days. The next camera I'm going to shoot with a lot, and I just love how this functions. It is a purely mechanical Pentax K1000. This dude right here, like I said, 50mm f1.7. It's already got a roll of film in it, so I'm not going to actuate it, but it's really cool. I do like the focusing system in it. It's very easy for me to just grab focus quickly on things. That f1.7 aperture is super bright, but it makes a super shallow depth of field. I've already put a full roll of Portra 400 through this, so I'm waiting to see how those turn out. But this one is about half the weight of the Nikon, surprisingly. But it's just the way the shutter and everything feels. It's just an incredibly crisp experience when you actually set off a shot. This originally had a 50 f2 on it, had a small aperture issue, so I picked up this 51.7 from B&H for less than, I think, $60. Really great lens, and I really can't wait to shoot with this. So this and the Nikon are probably going to go everywhere with me the digital stuff goes. Okay, let's get to something, depending on who you are, maybe more or less exciting. I really love the classic 35mm film cameras, but being that probably the first camera I ever put quite a few pieces of film through was a Polaroid 600, much more modern one than this guy, but this is the one I have now. It is bright pink and gray, and there's something I just really like about these things. It's just really cool to have something like this that before cell phones gave you kind of an instant image. just like that. Now I just gotta wait 10 minutes and I'll have this photo. Okay, it's been about 5 minutes. We're about halfway there. You can see it's starting to develop. I think these things are so cool. So the way they work is when you take the picture, it exposes the film, right? Then as it's pushing it out of the camera, there's 3 little packets here on the back, and it squishes those packets and releases all the developer and other chemicals into the image. Then about 10 minutes later, you get a final photo. And you know, by today's standards, where we just click off images like crazy with digital, with our smartphones, or even, you know, modern mirrorless cameras, and we instantly have that, it seems kind of trivial, but this was like the coolest thing when it was released, and I still really love how this works, because you can literally sit there and just watch the development process happen over time. Okay guys, after an additional 5 minutes, we've got a finished image. So that's you guys right there, fully developed. It's really cool to watch the chemical process take place right in front of your eyes. Watch it go from a blank piece of film to this fully developed color image with just no actual processing work. You're not sitting there, you know, doing different baths and things like that. You're going to do with 35 millimeter. It's just all right there. And I know by today's standards this seems really trivial, but it's so cool in my opinion. So guys, with film kind of making a resurgence in the hobby right now, I'm really glad I got to share with you guys some of the cameras I'm going to be using and taking on my trips with me. I hope to share some of the images I take with you guys here on my Instagram, places like that. Real quick before you guys go, if you like the video, please subscribe. I'm going to try and put out videos at least once a week now. And one more thing, I'm going to put a link here at the bottom of the video. This link is to the Facial Pain Association. This is a cause that's really close to home for me. I suffer from a condition known as trigeminal neuralgia, causes extreme pain in one side of my face. And these people do a lot of research and provide a lot of information to individuals newly diagnosed with these conditions, because there's not a ton of information out there for them. I'm going to try and do this probably every video, talk about a new cause, and give you guys a link where you can go donate or get more information on these conditions, because you may have a friend or family member one day that is diagnosed with these, and there's not a ton of resources out there, but the ones that are really helpful, and I definitely want to promote those causes.